Hello, I'm Julie Luscombe and I'm the Head of Education at Jersey Hospice Care. And as part of Dying Matters Week, we would like to reinforce the message that it's important for us all to get used to a bit more comfortable talking about death and dying, and of course the important matter of living, and to have the conversations about what is important to us and what matters to us. So this is a second video. In the first video, I encouraged you all to think about what's important to you and to have conversations with your loved ones about what you would like to happen at the end of life. But every conversation needs two parts, one to talk and one to listen. So it may well be that you get approached by somebody who wants to talk about what's important to them at the end of their lives. And actually, so we need to listen. When somebody has plucked up the courage to have those conversations, we need to be there and listen, but that's not always easy. So hopefully some of the tips that I give you here today will help you to really respond well to that conversation, because it actually can be quite easy to dodge that conversation with a joke or maybe later because we're feeling uncomfortable. And actually humour is fine if that's the way you and your friends or your family member tend to frame conversations. You know best, that's absolutely fine. But don't use humour as a way to deflect it, because you might have missed an opportunity for somebody to talk about something that's really important to them. So some conversations might be planned and some conversations might just arise as a result of circumstances. So for example, something on the telly, or something you read in a newspaper, or you might be discussing a celebrity that might just have died, or even somebody you know, and that could be the prompt for somebody to start talking about what's important to them. So, or it might be part of a planned chat, which gives you a little bit more time to prepare. But if somebody does come to talk to us about something that's important to them, then we owe it to them to listen, and we owe it to them to try and respond and just be there. And we don't need to be the experts. We don't need to have all the answers, but we do need to be there and listen. So if somebody wants to talk, it's our responsibility to listen, because we hope that someone would do the same for us. So don't feel like you need to be the expert, just let the conversation flow. So if someone has come to see you, the most important thing to do is listen. So just pay attention, be still and listen. Don't feel you've got to say a lot, because if somebody wants to talk about what's important to them, they're likely to have thought some of that through in their life already. So just let them know it's okay to talk about this and that you're happy to listen to it. Remember, you don't need to be the expert. There are plenty of resources out there that you can direct people to if you don't know the answers to any of the questions they might have. So I would recommend that you push them in the direction of the Dying Matters website, or also Jersey Hospice Care website. There are many websites out there, but Dying Matters will have links to lots of other sites that people will be able to find the answers to the questions that they might have. So one piece of advice I would suggest that you do say to people is actually to tell somebody once they've decided what's important to them and once they've thought it through, then to actually write it down and tell somebody other than yourself, unless it's you, get them to write it down and let a healthcare professional know. But if someone has started talking and they're looking like they're feeling a bit stuck and don't know where to go with it, but obviously want to carry on talking, you can ask them some open questions. And the most obvious one and most helpful one actually could be, what's important to you? And who would you want with you? And what keeps you going in your life? What gives you strength? And what do you enjoy about your life? So asking those sorts of questions can really help keep a conversation going. And don't be judgmental, because we all deal with things differently. We all think about death differently, and what your friend or family member might be thinking about might be completely different to how you might think about it. But it's not about you, it's about them. So just let them talk about what's important to them. Often people just want to unload and just think things through in their head. And this might be, I would say, sometimes if it's someone close to you and they're talking about what they would like to happen at the end of their life, that might be quite hard to listen to, and it might make you feel quite emotional. So tears are okay. You might both end up feeling a bit tearful, but just make sure you've got some time for yourself afterwards where you can just go and sit quietly and process some of the things that you maybe have been talking to your friend or loved one about. And maybe if you haven't already, it might prompt you to think about some of these issues for the end of your own life. and it might make you think about who do you want your listener to be. And that's actually quite a good thinking point, because if you think about if you wanted to talk to somebody about these issues, how would you like someone to respond to you? Think about that, and that will give you a real clue about what will be helpful for you to say and respond if somebody comes and talks to you. But of course, once you've had this conversation between yourselves, it's done. And that's a really important thing to have happened. It can give peace of mind. It can bring some relief to somebody, that somebody has actually listened to them. But it's done. And you and your friend or loved one can park it and actually get on with the business of living and enjoying the time with your loved ones and doing things you want to do. Every death matters because every life matters. But keep these conversations going because they are important, and take care of yourselves. Thank you.